Good evening. This is Dr. Pete on June 8th. We're going to give you a little flavor of our premium newsletter, which is a subscription service, and how we teach our students how to use price volume analysis in traditional Wyckoff fashion. We are looking at a chart here that is an hourly chart. And take a look at it here. Pause the video if you need to for a second. Do you have any sense of what the stock's going to do next? Do you see any area that tells you that there's promise here for the stock to go up or down? And would you take a trade yet? What about here? Do you have any additional evidence of whether to go long or short? Again, anytime you want to pause the video to look longer, go right ahead. What about here? So the stock keeps moving along. Again, these are hourly bars. Ask yourself, is there a spot here where you'd take a trade? And when you decide to take a trade, where would you place your stop and what would your target be? What about here? What about here? So the stock pulls back a little bit. What are you thinking here? What about here? So the stock's been moving back and forth. Have you taken a trade yet? And if you haven't, what are you waiting for? What would you like to see to go long or short? How about here? Price is going back and forth. This is somewhat tricky. What do you think now? Now I've added in a 20-period moving average for you. Have you taken a trade? What are you looking for next? So now the stock moves up significantly in just an hour. Did you go long? Did you go short? Did you not take a trade? Let's assume at some point you went long. Now what are you looking for? What are your goals? And what would be the evidence that would tell you it's time to get out? How would you manage this trade? The stock continues to move up nicely. Very aggressive moves in just an hour. The stock's moving nearly $2. Stock continues to move higher. So there's the first somewhat ugly bar since the stock started moving higher. Would you get out yet? Recovers a little bit. What are you thinking at this point? Well, if you got out, the stock moved up even higher. Moves up even higher here. What are you thinking here? Next bar finishes a little higher. Some consolidation. Do you take your profits? Or do you stay in the trade and let it run? Some more consolidation. Very tight group of 4 bars here. Now 5 tight bars. Now the stock moves down aggressively, though it closes somewhat off the finish. Did you get stopped out? Would you have sold already? Well, if you did, the stock moved back up again. Stock's consolidating here. Didn't get up and make a new high. Do you stay in? Stock moves back up. New closing high. Drops back down. Are you closing, or are you hoping for a new high? Stock goes lower again. Some consolidation. Are you still in the trade? Some consolidation, and then the stock moves down aggressively. And you really should have been out of the trade by now. So this is Facebook over the course of the past couple of weeks. And let's go back to the left side of the chart. And this to me was kind of your first clue that maybe you wanted to be thinking long. You see this period of consolidation here, then this big wide-ranging bar on very high volume. That means there's a real struggle going on between buyers and sellers. And yet here's the open of that bar to this left notch. And look where we finished. And the price action for that day engulfed this bar here. And you have a nice move up. So a break above this bar would have been a nice place to take a long, leaving a stop below the high volume low area of this bar. Now granted, you're going to have some volatility, but you want to leave some room with these tech stocks for them to move back and forth. There will be scary bars, there will be pullbacks, and what you typically see when you have a high volume bar like this is a pullback at least into the body of the bar, even if it takes off initially, which is what happened here, and it came down into here. You can see this low here is here, but this bar here is your screaming buy signal. You've now had high volume here with a great finish engulfing. High volume here with low open, high finish, engulfing many bars here. Somewhere in here, as it consolidates back in here, you should be looking for a strong bar to tell you to go long. I think you could have gone long anywhere here with a stop below this bar. You'll often see with these high volume, wide-ranging price bars, just below that bar is a very good place, even if it gets close, that the stock price doesn't come back down and hit anytime soon. That's kind of what you see here. And then the stock starts to take off. Now there's many, many ways you can play a stock that's moving nicely. I mean, you have a heck of a run here from the mid 180s up to the mid 190s. You can either trail your price action by 2 or 3 bars once it gets going, and maybe put your stop, say, below the low here, and the next move up you can start to trail below here when it gets to here. And you got to expect little pullbacks, but you should be patient. The 20 period moving average is just sloping up. Now what you'll commonly see is that as a stock gets away from its 20 period moving average, at some point it is going to stall or even move back to re-tag this line and consolidate before you know what's going to happen next. Your clue here is this bar. Very high volume relative to most of the volume bars on the chart. Look at the finish here. And then you got all this consolidation, first signs of major selling. Now there was hope here with a recovery, so if you can also use the 20 period moving average as your trailing stop. And that would have worked fine to get you all the way to here. And what's not uncommon before a big move down is one last takeout of the prior recent high, which this bar did, which we call an upthrust. And then you see signs of selling here. And the finishes of most of these bars are poor. You're now below the 20-period moving average, and you really shouldn't be greedy at this point. You have a good $7-8 profit up in here. It's time to take it. This stock had become extended. So that's one of the ways that we like to play bar charts and how we use volume and price action to determine good entry and exits. Hope you enjoyed this sample of what we do, and we'll see you again soon.